Very
So
excited.
we love dinosaurs at Jurassic Quest. We love to teach about dinosaurs. In fact, that's what I do at Jurassic Quest. I'm one of the dinosaur experts, and I love to teach everybody about dinosaurs. But before we get started with the show and tell, which is what we're doing today, or this segment of today, I'm going to introduce you to some of our friends, starting with Dino Dustin. You have a little friend there with you as well.
I do. Hello, everyone. It's me, Dino Dustin. I'm one of the dinosaur trainers here at Jurassic Quest, and I have a special guest, which is Trixie the Triceratops. You can see she's having a great time celebrating International Dinosaur Day with you all. We're ecstatic, and we can't wait to see what else happens. So I'm going to pass it on to, is that Prehistoric Nick? And you have a special guest too as well, right?
That's right. I'm here. By the way, I'm Prehistoric Nick. I'm the fossil expert here at Jurassic Quest. And I'm here with my friend Cammy, the baby Camarasaurus, who is from the Jurassic period. And now, speaking of little guests, I think I see Safari Sarah there. Who do you have with you, Sarah?
Hey, everybody. It's me, Safari Sarah. And Tyson, the baby T-Rex, obviously. And we're also joined by another T-Rex, right? Yeah, and Tyson keeps trying to interact with them. And it's a good reminder to you guys that if you want to put on a background, just like the ones that we have here with our friendly dinosaurs, then you guys can actually check your email for links for these. And you can actually download them and put them in your background so you can look just like we do. But I'm Safari Sarah. This is Tyson. I'm a dinosaur trainer at Jurassic Quest, and we're so excited to be here for show and tell.
And I think we have one other guest with us. Ian, is that you?
Hey, y'all. My name is Ranger Lee. I am one of our raptor trainers, so I take care of the raptors and make sure that they don't try to eat anyone while you guys are here.
Well, that's very handy. We appreciate that a lot. We don't want to lose any more guests to people being eaten by raptors.
No more. Absolutely no more. Yeah.
That's what we say every week. I hope you know we're joking. All right. So Jurassic Quest is a traveling dinosaur show, and it's a lot of fun. And you can meet these baby dinosaurs in person. And you can also see all of us on the Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is our new video tour inside the exhibit. So you'll have the four of us teaching you about dinosaurs in the exhibit as you go through, and it is so much fun. But what's a lot of fun for me is teaching people about dinosaurs, and we get to do that with show and tell. But we also get to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A, and then we will do our best to answer as many of those questions as we can during this segment as well. But we have some things that we are excited to show you, so we can't wait. And we're going to start right now. Let's see, Ian, are you ready to show what you have for show and tell?
I am. So the first thing I have to show off is my Carnotaurus figure. Now, the Carnotaurus is a very cool dinosaur that people can actually ride while they're here at Jurassic Quest as one of our stationary rides. Every show will have a Carnotaurus that everyone can ride, and they're super cool. One thing really cool about Carnotaurus are these horns. They are the only known two-legged meat eater that would have horns.
Wow.
Whoa, that's crazy. Do you have any idea what those horns were used for, Ian?
We have no clue. We have one skeleton of Carnotaurus, and that's it. That's all we know.
So it sounds like they'd probably be used for display, or maybe they could even push their heads against each other, but there are a lot of different possibilities, and you're right, we don't know for sure. Ooh, Prehistoric Nick, did you bring something cool for us to see?
I sure did. So one of the things I have with me is this 3D printed fossil. Now, this is pretty small. I'm going to hold it still so you guys can see. So this is a Ferrosaurus digit, or basically one finger of a dinosaur called Ferrosaurus. That is a dinosaur that was discovered in British Columbia. So it's actually one of the only dinosaurs that's exclusive to British Columbia so far. Oh. And it's a relative of the Ceratopsians. Basically, it's a dinosaur kind of like the Aqualops or a Stachosaurus that you might be able to see at Jurassic Quest. But yeah, it's a really small dinosaur, but it is a very special dinosaur to us here.
Oh, that's really cool. I love these things. Now, I'm sure you guys are excited to go see these things at Jurassic Quest. And because it's International Dinosaur Day, we actually have a very special offer. For today only, you can get tickets for any of our upcoming shows for 30% off. But that offer only lasts for today. So if you buy tickets for today for 30% off using the code Dino Day, which makes perfect sense because it's International Dino Day. So tell your parents about that. And we can't wait to see you there. But right now, we're going to pass it off to Dino Dustin. Do you have something you want to show us?
I do. I have something I want to show you. So, Trixie, can I put you down for a second? Thanks, Trixie. So, I have a really cool thing. So, obviously, as a dinosaur trainer, all my friends and family know that I'm obsessed with dinosaurs. And so, when they go on trips, often they'll bring back something. And so, one friend went to Mexico and brought me back something really cool. So, here we go. Here it is. You guys see it?
Oh, wow.
Now, obviously, it is a dinosaur, but it's hard to tell because it's stylized what dinosaur it is. But what makes this so special to me as a dinosaur trainer is, especially working at Jurassic Quest and traveling and getting to see so many other dinosaur enthusiasts, is how much people love dinosaurs all around the world. And so you guys are in your homes. Some of you guys are in classrooms. Some of you guys are hanging out at camp or museums and talking about these dinosaurs and watching us. And so this represents so many people that just love dinosaurs everywhere. And so we can theorize what this might be. What do you guys think this dinosaur is? You guys have any guesses or have any clues that what this could be?
Huh. So it looks like some kind of theropod would be my guess.
I think so too, Prehistoric Nick. In some ways, I'm like, it could be a T-Rex, but I don't know. It kind of looks like a T-Rex would have a bigger head, maybe, you know?
Yeah, I like that.
That's the thing with any of those toys. You get different artists making them, and sometimes they don't make them the most scientifically accurate they could possibly be. Oh, but
Right.
when we talk about scientifically accurate, you know who I think of? Safari Sarah. Did you bring something for us to see for show
I
and tell?
sure
Sarah?
did. And this is actually a really cool thing because this ties into our show. Now, what I have here is, it obviously just kind of looks like an egg. Don't eat it, please. So this looks very much like an egg, but it's actually kind of like an excavation brick. And you can see here that
wow.
I actually found a dinosaur inside of it. That's pretty cool. And it was really cool because with this, it came with a little field guide that has all these different dinosaurs that you can learn about. And so I think what I actually have is called a Saurolophus, which is really cool. But it's not as cool as the excavation bricks at our show, because at Jurassic Quest, we actually have these guys, but instead of just a fake little dinosaur inside, like a toy, we actually put real fossils inside of these excavation bricks. So when you come to Jurassic Quest, not only can you have fun digging in our fossil digs, in our sandboxes, essentially looking for bones, but you can also use one of these little excavation bricks that we have at Jurassic Quest, and you can find and take home a real fossil with you. How many of you guys have been out to Jurassic Quest? Raise your hand if you've been to Jurassic Quest before. Yeah, you're very good raising your hand, Tyson. Good job. And have any of you guys ever done an excavation brick with us? Say yes if you have.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, me too. That was my favorite thing to do. It still is to this day sometimes. Thanks, Marty.
That is really cool. I
Mhm.
love that. So that's a little thing that I like about Jurassic Quest is how educational it is. In fact, even when you're away from Jurassic Quest, if you have a question about it, you can text those questions directly to me. We actually have a Dino 411 line. The number is 844 Dino 411, which turns out to be 844-346-6411. So if you have a dinosaur question that's just burning in your brain, text it directly to me at Dino 411, and I'll be happy to answer it. But what I'm happy to do now is show you something that I brought for Dino Show and Tell. And this is actually something prehistoric Nick made for me on a printer. This is the top portion of the skull of a Plateosaurus. Now, raise your hands if you've heard of a Plateosaurus. Raise your hands if you've heard of it. All right, a few of you. Now, it's not a super well-known dinosaur, but this one is a very old dinosaur. It comes from the Triassic, the late Triassic, probably 214 to 204 million years ago. So a long, long time towards the beginning of the dinosaurs. And what I like about this, you can see its peg-like little teeth, which it would use for eating plants. It's related to sauropods. Sauropods are the giant long-necked dinosaurs that you all know about. And this is used to be called a prosauropod or a sauropodomorph. And so this is related to them. They were smaller than the big giant ones that were in the Jurassic and the Cretaceous, but they were starting to get some of the same body shape and everything. Now, can you guys guess where its eye would be? Tell me where. I'll stop when you tell me which hole you think is for the eye. Do you think this is for the eye?
Yes.
Do you think this one's for the eye? Do you think this one's for the eye? Or do you think this one back here is for the eye?
Oh, maybe.
1, 2, 3, or 4. Which one do you think it is?
I'm going to go with 4.
Number 3, my lord.
I'm going to go with 4.
The correct answer is number 3. This is where its big eye would be. And so I'd have an eye on this side and an eye on the other side. And if you look from the front, you can't really see those holes very well, which means its eyes were on the side of its head. And since it's a plant eater, that means it was probably searching for things, trying to look at people from the sides and scanning as wide an area as possible. Whereas with meat eaters, their eyes are going to face forward so they can hunt what they're looking for. They can get depth perception and find what they're looking for. Yeah, just like you, Tyson. So this is a Plateosaurus skull, and I think it's just really cool. Thanks, Nick, for the awesome present.
That's awesome, you guys.
I'm really glad I was able to share that with you, because Plateosaurus or Plateosaurus is actually a prosauropod, which means that it's a relative of Cami here.
No, that is really cool. Cami, it's one of your relatives. It's one of your ancestors. So I think we have other things to show, though, don't we? So who wants to go next? Ian, do you have another one?
Yes. So I have also another toy. This is my favorite dinosaur, the Ceratosaurus. And something really cool about this figure that you can see is, of course, his nose horn up here. But also going down his back, you see these spikes along his side. So these are osteoderms, just like an ankylosaurus would have. But this guy's a meat eater. And this would help him protect himself from other predators in the area, as well as other of his kind.
Oh, that is really awesome. I like Ceratosaurus. I think it's neat that he actually has a little horn on his nose, which is kind of rare for meat-eating dinosaurs. Like Ceratopsians, you see the little horn on the nose all the time. But for a Ceratosaurus, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So I really like your Ceratosaurus. And I think we actually have Ceratosaurus in at least one of our shows has a Ceratosaurus that you can actually see in person. And seeing the dinosaurs little on the screen is one thing, but seeing them live and in person will really take your breath away. I just love to watch as little kids go through the pillars as they first walk in and they see their first giant dinosaur. Their eyes just light up and their jaws drop. So that is one of my favorite things about going to Jurassic Quest. All right, we've let Ian show another one. Prehistoric Nick, I think it's your turn. Do you have another thing to show us?
Oh, absolutely. So Cami here is from the Jurassic period. Another thing that I happen to have is actually from the Jurassic period. So this is a fossil that I happen to own, and this is an ammonite that's still embedded in rock. So this ammonite came from Germany, and it's from what we call the Solnhofen deposits. So that's the same kind of deposits that the dinosaur named Archaeopteryx was found in. So this ammonite is a little bit over 145 million years old.
Wow, that's really old. So
yeah.
ammonites, those are actually cephalopods, I think is the correct word, right?
Yep. So they were not dinosaurs, but they were animals that lived in the ocean alongside dinosaurs who were mostly on land. So there were certainly some dinosaurs that probably ate ammonites at some point, but that's just a really cool example of fossil that I have from the Mesozoic, specifically from the Jurassic.
Wow. Now, the ammonites, they're a big curl shell, and then they've got little tentacles coming out of the end. So are they related to like octopi?
Yeah, so they are related. They're also similar to a nautilus that's still alive today in the oceans. So they would have looked really, really crazy with their big tentacles, but with a giant shell.
Yeah, another really cool thing about them, this is a complex term. It's called a siphuncle, but basically it's a little
Wait. Park Ranger Marty, let's make that fun. Can you teach us how to say siphuncle and get us all to say it together?
All right. We're going to break it down. It's 3 syllables. So sigh,
fun,
cool.
Fun,
So it's
cool.
Sci-fun, cool.
Sci-fun, cool.
Okay, now everyone together.
Sci-fun, cool.
So, but basically it's a little tube that takes in and gets rid of water inside the shell, and it allows them to float at different levels. So they can be different levels of buoyant.
Oh, cool. So just like a submarine.
Higher and lower in the water is by having more or less water in their shell.
So
pretty cool.
That's really, really cool.
I do want to just point out we have some new people who are hopping on every now and then. And a few people have asked us why we're here and why we're talking about dinosaurs. So I'm just going to explain that real quick, if that's okay with y'all.
That sounds great.
Perfect. So we're all dinosaur trainers or experts or fossil experts from Jurassic Quest, which is a dinosaur exhibit that travels all around the country with baby dinosaurs, our raptors for raptor training shows, real fossils, fossil digging, bounce houses, and so much more, you guys. But we're here celebrating International Dino Day. And it's one of our 2 holidays that we celebrate this way with Zoom calls, where we're able to educate and talk about our favorite parts, not only of dinosaurs, but also of Jurassic Quest. So we can tell you guys about what you're missing out and what you should come check out with us.
You can also find out a lot of that online. You can visit us on our Facebook page, Jurassic Quest, or we have their JurassicQuest.com, and that'll show you our upcoming schedules, and you can learn all about it. We also have things on TikTok and Instagram, so you can follow us. In fact, we actually want to see some of the things that you have with you, because we're doing show and tell of things that we think are cool, but I bet you guys have some really cool things as well. Yep. So if you want to get your parents to take pictures and then perhaps post them and tag Jurassic Quest at Jurassic Quest on social media, and then we can see some of the cool things that you're doing along with us. So that'll be awesome. All right, who has another thing that they want to show? Oh, Safari Sarah, go ahead.
Okay, now my second thing actually is a really fun story with it, because I was actually hanging out with Dino Dustin and with Prehistoric Nick when we went here. So we just went through Canada, and while we were in, I believe it was Calgary, we actually took a trip all the way up to the Royal Tyrrell Museum. If you guys don't know what that is, it's an incredible museum filled with tons and tons of fossil. And it's in a cool place because Canada has the densest dinosaur bone beds. So you can learn a lot about the dinosaurs and especially the ones from there. But while we were going through the gift shop, I saw something that I love, which is a geode. And on top of that geode was actually a little stegosaurus. So I love this little stegosaurus on this geode. I think it's the actual coolest thing I've ever gotten from a museum. And you can actually see things like this, like our geodes, at our fossil table at Jurassic Quest. We actually have some really cool fossils and even some cool geodes at some of our shows that you guys can check out at our fossil table. That's my second item.
That is really cool. I like that a lot. I kind of want that. I'm a little envious, honestly, at my house.
You can borrow it, Park Ranger Marty.
Thank you. Thank you. You're very sweet. All right, Prehistoric Nick, did you have another fossil you wanted to show us or another item?
So I think those were both of
Oh,
my two things.
you already got to do two.
But Dino
sorry.
Dustin.
Dino Dustin. Wait, it's Dino Dustin's turn. All right.
Yes, I do have another item to show you guys from Show and Tell. And what's cool is you guys both, I think Prehistoric Nick and you, Park Ranger Marty, both showed something made from a 3D printer, right?
Uh-huh.
What I think about this is cool. This is a T-Rex skull that Prehistoric Nick actually made for me with a 3D printer. And what I think is cool to point out is that 3D printers are really cool tools to help us learn more about dinosaurs because, as you know, fossils can sometimes be very rare, but we all want the opportunity to see and be able to calculate and find out more about these creatures. So 3D printers have been really great tools for us to scan those fossils with a computer, and then the 3D printer will print out replicas of what those fossils actually look like so that we can hold and feel how they felt. So I think it's pretty cool. So Prehistoric Nick made this for me. In fact, I kind of just bullied him and said, please give this to me. I need it. So he made one for me. And this is a T-Rex skull. And I love it because it reminds me of how strong that the T-Rex's bite force was.
That
so
is cool.
I love it. And so as you can see all the way through the skull. And obviously this is a smaller sized down version of the T-Rex skull, but it's cool to put on my desk. And so it's I think it's something really cool to point out.
That's awesome. I do see some people in our chat saying hello and asking if they can say hi. We do see your questions, so we see you saying hello. But to keep it really clear so you guys can hear us, that's the reason why we don't have your microphones on and we're not hearing you, because then you wouldn't be able to hear all the cool stuff that we have to tell you about dinosaurs. But we do see you guys and we want to say hi. And someone asked, so are all fossils printed? What do you think, Dino Dustin?
Not all fossils are printed. Obviously, not obviously, but some fossils are from the ground, and those are true fossils. But a lot of times when you go to museums, they'll have a mix, just like at our fossil table, we'll have a mix of real fossils that are from the ground, and then sometimes there's cast of fossils or 3D printed fossils. So there's a whole assortment of ways to learn about these creatures. And I think no matter how you get the fossil or if it's a replica, it's still a cool way to learn about these creatures, because otherwise we wouldn't learn a lot about them because they're not here anymore.
Here's a fun way if you're at a museum to tell if the fossil is real or not, because sometimes they'll display their fossils like a full-size dinosaur, and sometimes they'll mix in real fossils with fake fossils. But typically, if it's a real fossil, they'll build a metal frame that will kind of support the fossil and wrap around the fossil. But if it's just a replica, then they can just drill directly into the fossil. And so that hides the metal a little better, so it looks a little cooler. But if they're drilling directly into it, that's a good sign. It's not a real fossil that they're drilling into. They typically just use the metal to hold it. And speaking of fossils at museum, Jurassic Quest travels all around the country, and we have our own fossils, but we get to go see cool museums like Safari Sarah did. And when the show was in Chicago, I went to the Field Museum and was able to get this. Now, this is a replica of a T-Rex tooth. In fact, this comes from a very famous T-Rex known as Sue the T-Rex. So we actually have a very famous T-Rex at our show. We have a cast of the skull of Stan the T-Rex at our fossil table. So, but this one, it's really cool and it's very long. It's probably almost 11 inches long. And you'll see it's got this kind of flat section here, which you're like, it doesn't seem like much of a tooth. Well, that's actually the root. So that would all be up in the gum line, and you'd only see this section sticking out of the gum line. Now, why does it need so much root? Why do you guys think it needs so much root?
For stabilization?
Yeah, because it's biting down with incredible force. In fact, they think that a T-Rex was biting down with somewhere between 8,000 and 12,000 pounds per square inch. That's some bite force, huh?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A
And
lot of items.
do you actually still have your T-Rex skull?
Yes, it's still right here.
Hold it up real quick. Now, you see how all those teeth are just kind of sharp and pointy, and they're all together, but there'd be no way for those teeth to grind up food. So these teeth, the ones on the side like this, were designed for crushing bone, and the ones on the front, like little Tyson's mouth, were used for actually pulling things off of a prey, like pulling flesh off of it. And so, but none of them were designed for chewing it up. So they were actually just swallowing the big chunks of flesh, and they weren't actually chewing up the food. So that's the kind of cool thing, where some animals, definitely like a Triceratops, definitely chews its food very well.
Mhm.
But
Whoa.
We had a good question. Somebody asked, why does a Spinosaurus have a fin?
so there are some debates on that right now. One of the best things that most people can agree with is it's probably for display. Where a lot of things that you see on animals that seem kind of a little ridiculous and out of sorts with the rest of it actually are probably for display. It looks good to a mate. However, there's also body temperature regulation possibilities with it. They were probably spending a lot of their time in the water, and so having a nice little radiator that can heat up in the sun and warm their body as they're sitting in the water is good. Also, I've heard that it could be a different type of display where perhaps the animal is swimming into a place, and a lot of animals can be very territorial, which means they want to keep the space that they have to themselves. So if you're a Spinosaurus and you're floating down the river and you see a Spinosaurus with a smaller sail, that means maybe you can chase it away because you're bigger than it. And if you see one with a much bigger sail than you can just turn around so you don't have a really bad day. So possibilities for what the sail on a Spinosaurus might have been used for.
Oh,
Do we have any other questions, by the way? I know a lot of people are probably asking questions in the questions and answers. So now would be a great time. I think we've all shown our things.
Yeah. So
asked a question, but it actually isn't much of a question. It's more of a statement. And this is a really cool thing that I don't think anyone has said about T-Rex teeth yet. And that is that they are the size of a banana, which is so funny and making me a little hungry around this lunchtime, right? I think so. But they do have some good questions here.
yeah. So I do see one. What is the biggest ceratopsian? That question is coming from Brennan.
That's a good question.
Very good.
So Eotriceratops is actually the largest ceratopsian that we know of. So it's a little larger Triceratops. Torosaurus is also large, but Triceratops and Eotriceratops tend to be the largest of the ceratopsian dinosaurs. So good answer to that one. That was fast.
Someone asked, is there a queen of the dinosaurs since there's only a king? And I would like to consider myself the queen of the dinosaurs. Although the reason why T-Rex is considered the king of the dinosaurs is not because he was big. Do you guys know why he was considered the king? It has to do with something very strong. Good job. I'm hearing you guys. It's actually because their bite force was the strongest. And that is why they were considered the king. Because even if another dinosaur was bigger and tried to pick a fight, it would only take one bite from this guy to get him taken care of. Someone asked how we get our fossils. That's a really good question. Prehistoric Nick, do you want to answer that?
Absolutely. So the fossils that we do have at Jurassic Quest, so we have real fossils, but we also have a lot of fossils that are either cast or 3D printed. So there are really special labs that do make cast fossils for us. But for our real fossils, we actually do buy them from people who have sourced them from privately owned land. So we have ethically sourced fossils because fossils are a thing that's a limited resource in the world. So you can't just go and pick up fossils anywhere you want. You have to have permission from the landowner. You have to make sure that that you're getting them from a place that doesn't allow, or that doesn't forbid them to be exported from that place. So we make sure that the fossils that we have were ethically sourced, and that's what we have at our fossil table.
So, in other words, just like if we have cookies in a jar and you want to have cookies, but you know that other people want cookies too, and we need these cookies to keep ourselves happy, obviously. You want to make sure you ask permission before taking the cookie out of the jar. That way, whenever you show other people the cookie, you don't get in trouble for it and you don't get it taken away, right?
Absolutely.
Got you. That's
What I
so
think,
cool.
what I also think is really cool is all these questions that I've had about fossils, a lot of them you've answered on our Fossil Fridays. So if you guys are interested, on our YouTube channel, you can learn about fossils on Fossil Friday, which I look forward to every week. And not only Fossil Friday, we also have a cool thing called Science Sundays, where we talk about all sorts of things related to dinosaurs and other creatures of the prehistoric kind.
So cool. Someone asked a really good question, which is, what do dinosaurs use their tails for? Now, I actually know this one, but I know that it's for different uses, right, guys?
They actually do have a few different uses that they can use their tails for. One of the main ones is actually balance. We know now that a lot of the dinosaurs were walking around on two legs. So you got your head on one side and your tail on the other. And if you're something like Tyson with a big tanky head, or one of the T-Rexes you can see at our show, to balance that big tanky head out, they have a tail that balances it out.
You better watch yourself, Park Ranger Marty. I don't like that very much.
I think Tyrannosaurus Rexes are pretty proud of their giant head with their giant bite force. They use it a lot.
When I think about that question, I think about dodging our Utah Raptors tail when we train raptors. At our show, there's opportunities for you guys to train one of our Utah Raptors, Jojo, and he is rambunctious. And every time he spins around, you have to make sure to duck because his tail might get you.
That's right. And how many of you guys who have actually come to our show and helped us train Jojo or Diego before? Raise your hand if you've helped us. That's right. All you guys are junior dinosaur trainers. We're so happy to have y'all joining us, guys. Now we have another question, which is, when were dinosaurs alive?
Ooh.
So technically, dinosaurs are still alive. We have them in the form of birds. Every bird you see is a dinosaur. The dinosaurs that most people think of as dinosaurs lived from about 240 million years ago to about 66 million years ago. So that's how long they've been on the planet. But like I said, since we still have them from 240 plus million years ago to today, we've had dinosaurs.
That's so awesome. And somebody asked, why do dinosaurs have a different number of claws?
Oh, yeah, that's actually a really great question. So different animals, even today, even though their ancestors might have had different claw or different numbers of toes or fingers, they diverged today. So some very, very early horses actually would have had 3 toes, whereas modern day horses really have 1, which is their hoof. So lots of dinosaurs would have had different different numbers of claws depending on what they were using them for. Now, T-Rex on its hands had only 2 claws because it wasn't using its arms as much as its ancestors were. So some of its earlier ancestors would have actually had 3. So they were specializing at mostly using just their head and jaws to attack their prey. They're using their arms a lot less. So over time, their ancestors started to lose some of their fingers. So they really only had 2. Now, for their toes, there's some dinosaurs like Therizinosaurus that actually has would have walked on 4 claws on its feet. So basically, it really just depends on what they're specializing for.
Cool. Now, I did get a question that says, Safari Sarah, where can I get an egg? Now, although I have this egg that I bought at our show, you can get real fossils inside of our excavation bricks at Jurassic Quest. That's one of our activities. And we also have another activity called Fossil Digs, where if you want to try out being a paleontologist, you can actually go in and you can search for fossils. But we do have dinosaur eggs at our show called Hatching Eggs, and they're so cute and give you the opportunity to take your own dinosaur egg home and hatch your own new baby dinosaur. We love them.
You like all the fun educational stuff at this show. I just like to get on the bounce houses and bounce around.
Those are pretty
Normally,
fun.
only kids 10 and under can do it, but before the show, I'm just in those bounce houses, bouncing around and sliding. I think the Jurassic Quest bounce houses are the best.
I think
They
Yeah,
are.
too.
And I'm sure by
absolutely.
now, with all this talk about Jurassic Quest, you're wondering, how can I get there if you haven't been? Well, you can go to JurassicQuest.com or get one of your teachers or your parents to come show you what it's like. And also, since we're celebrating International Dino Day, we're giving out a special treat to you guys. We're giving away 30% off our tickets by using the promo code Dino Day to celebrate and get you guys over to Jurassic Quest so you can see all of our dinosaurs.
That's awesome. Thanks for mentioning that, Dino Dustin.
Of course.
Now, Ranger Lee, somebody named Molly asked the question, is there a dinosaur that's faster than a cheetah? Do you know?
So as far as I'm concerned, no. But there are some people, some scientists that think the Carnotaurus would be one of the faster of the dinosaurs on account of where his legs attach is wider, which means he had very muscular legs, which is great for pushing it forward. Not great for turning, but he was pretty fast.
Nice. And what about velociraptors? Were they not faster than cheetahs?
No. There's no animal that I know of, or I think we'll ever know of, that will be faster than a cheetah on land. They're just built from the ground up for speed. But raptors were pretty fast. Of course, they were small. And I don't know their estimated speed. I don't know if Nick or Marty know their estimated speed.
Probably between like around 30 miles per hour for a velociraptor, whereas a cheetah up to 70, like 60 to 70.
65.
So-
Yeah. Although, of course, if we're counting avian dinosaurs, then yes, there are definitely some. Like the peregrine falcon can dive at speeds at over 240 miles per hour. So that, I guess, would be an exception of using example of a modern dinosaur that could outrun a cheetah, but it's not exactly running.
Wow, that is so cool, you guys. Now, oh, this is a good question. Somebody asked if we can talk about new discoveries saying T-Rex may have had feathers. And I have heard of this, although we know that it's not proven yet. It is something that we're finding more and more dinosaurs actually did have feathers, and we're finding fossil evidence of this. Just like velociraptors, we know are confirmed to have feathers, and even microraptors, we even know the color of the feathers that they had, which was all black. But I know for T-Rex, Park Ranger Marty has said before that if they were there, it would probably be on the back of his neck or head. But as of now, we don't have any fossil evidence to support that, right?
Yeah, so they come from a group of theropod dinosaurs, and there are 5 separate groups in that group. And in each one of those lineages, we have found some evidence of feathers. So it is a trait that is there to potentially be on a T-Rex, but the only skin imprints that we've found of a T-Rex so far haven't shown any evidence of feathers. So far, there's nothing showing that a T-Rex has feathers, but it is possible that it's just on a section we haven't seen. Like there are parts of an ostrich that don't have feathers as well.
That's true.
So,
That's awesome. Now, I did get a question asking me, Safari Sarah, what my favorite animal is. And my favorite animal is actually a horse. I love horses. But I also love the rides that are horses that move backwards and forwards and you sit on their saddle. And it's just like our dinosaur rides, even though we have 2 different kinds of dinosaur rides. One of them is very similar, but you're sitting on a massive dinosaur. You can pick a T-Rex, a Pinocchio, let's see, Allosaurus, a Carnotaurus, a Parasaurolophus, a Triceratops, and you can actually walk up a giant staircase, get onto the dinosaur, strap into its saddle, and start your ride where you can get the once in a lifetime opportunity to ride a dinosaur at Jurassic Quest? So thanks for that question. That was awesome.
These are really, really good questions.
I think
We're getting close to the end of the segment, though. So if we have any more questions, I'll go ahead and take them. And if not, we'll start saying goodbye.
And don't
Yeah,
forget,
so-
if you have more questions as we end, you can text Park Ranger Marty and he'll answer those questions on the weekend at 844-DINO-411. Again, 844-DINO-411 is a way to reach us and get those dinosaur questions answered, even if we're not currently on our sessions.
that's
And
right.
you can go to JurassicQuest.com and continue the fun that you're having on International Dinosaur Day. We have different coloring sheets and activities that you can do online as well, or you can print them out.
Call out. Now, a few people asked this question throughout this session. It may have been the same person, but they wanted to know what the strongest dinosaur was. And we know that the T-Rex had the strongest bite force, obviously. But what do y'all think? I would argue that maybe it was the largest dinosaur who is the strongest, since he had to lift up his whole body. Can you tell us about that, Prehistoric Nick?
Yeah, so the biggest dinosaur that we know of so far is a dinosaur called Argentinosaurus, which, like the name implies, lives in Argentina in South America. There are a couple other dinosaurs that are really close to in size that some scientists actually think might even be bigger. There's one called Dreadnoughtus, and another one named Patagotitan, but they all belong to the same group of dinosaurs called Titanosaurs. So those dinosaurs would have been some of the biggest land animals to ever walk the planet. So yeah, those dinosaurs also would have been really, really strong.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's an amazing call out. And we love talking about these dinosaurs here on Dino Day with y'all. Just a little recap in case y'all didn't catch it earlier. I'm Safari Sarah, and this is Tyson, the baby T-Rex. And if you miss some of this session, or you're not signed up for any of our other sessions because you'll miss them and you want to catch them later, we will have all of these up on YouTube, and you can find it on Jurassic Quest page on YouTube from our previous sessions, and for these within the week, they'll be posted. But that's not the only place you guys can actually find content from us. Y'all can actually follow us on stuff like TikTok, on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. Plus, we actually have a system where you can request special shout out messages from any of us and our baby dinosaurs on a platform called Cameo. You guys can actually request something there from us. So if we didn't get to talk to you today about what you would like to talk to us about, then you can actually request a special shout out message on there. But we have more sessions coming up today, right, Park Ranger Marty?
We sure do. Coming up next, we have Dino Story Time. Who's leading? Is that you, Safari Sarah? Are you going to be reading us stories?
I sure will be.
I love the Dino Story Time. That's so much fun. I think I'll bring Cammie to that and actually have her take a look at it with us. And then we have a very special thing at 5 o'clock today. That is going to be our I Know Dino, 10 dinosaurs you've never heard of. And so they're a special podcast. They're a place that I like to go when I'm learning new things about dinosaurs. They're really good at what they do. And so I'm really excited to be a part of it. And I can't wait to have that happen later on today. So sign up for those before they begin, because you won't be able to get in if you sign in after. So if you haven't signed up for them, please do. They're going to be awesome.
That's right. Plus, guys, we didn't even talk about the discount code right now. Let's go into it. Let's dig into some of those savings. Prehistoric Nick, do you want to tell us about it?
Absolutely. So for anyone who buys tickets online today, if you use promo code Dino Day, people can get up to 30% off of tickets to Jurassic Quest for any upcoming show that's on our website right now. And you get tickets at JurassicQuest.com. So if you have parents or guardians who are listening right now, you can tell them to go check out JurassicQuest.com.
And Dustin, I heard you mention it earlier, but if people didn't get their questions answered today and they want to talk to us on the weekends about those questions they had, who should they text?
They're going to text my good friend and smart guy, Park Ranger Marty, and they're going to text them at our Dino 411 number, which is 844-DINO-411. Again, that's 844-DINO-411, and Marty will give you all his answers. And if he doesn't know, he'll simply tell you what he does know.
Oh, perfect. Now, Park Ranger Lee, would you like to tell us what your favorite thing at the show is so we can talk about Jurassic Quest one more time before we have to end the session?
So my favorite thing at Jurassic Quest, and it's something everyone can do, and something that I take part of personally, is the raptor training experience, where people get to come and they get to learn all the commands for our giant Utah raptors, which, if you didn't know, is one of, if not the largest of the raptors. And we have two that they can learn all the commands for and work with me in order to become professional raptor trainers.
That is so awesome. Thank you for telling us about that. You guys, thank you so much for joining us. And we hope that you guys don't let the fun stop here. Make sure you go online, get your parents to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. You guys can find us on YouTube. You can watch educational and fun content from Instagram and Facebook. You can use that code Dino Day for 30% off. And I'll say the number one more time. If you want to write it down with a crayon, a marker, a pen, get your papers out and write down the Dino 411 number, which is 844-346-6411. And that is our Dino 411 number, where you can text our dinosaur experts all weekend and get any answers about dinosaurs that you would like. Thank you guys so much for joining us for Dino Day, and hopefully you'll join us for our next segment, Story Time. Everybody, let me hear you roar.
Roar!
Roar.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Thanks
guys.
for joining us.
Bye.